Alrighty, guys, we are live. Let's get a quick sound check. Microphone check 1, 2. Testes, testes. From a 1 to 10, how is my audio?
It's our time down here.
Strange, and I'm calling you Rick and
Look,
Sheila
bro,
like
they're
we're in
not
some kind
serving
of AA
breakfast.
meeting.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Who's this gentleman sitting behind you?
Hello, Miss Lady.
What I do have are a very particular set of skills.
Bro, it's
Skills I've
me.
acquired over a very long career.
Warriors, come out to play.
I give you $10 million, Tony. Okay,
Damn, that's a lot of money.
$10 million.
What's up, everybody? Give me 1 second here. I'm gonna reset my my system real quick. All right, there we go. All right, let's welcome everybody in. So today is basically another episode of Sleuth Crew News. The two cases that we are going to cover will be Joseph Czuba and the Menendez brothers. In October of 2023, Joseph Czuba, a 73-year-old landlord in Plainfield, Illinois, attacked his tenants, a Palestinian American family, in a hate-driven assault prompted by the escalating Israel-Hamas war that began days earlier. Czuba had previously had a positive relationship with the family, became agitated after consuming inflammatory media about the conflict, according to trial testimony. He targeted 6-year-old Wadi Alpha Yumi and his mother Hanan Shaheen because of their Muslim faith. And then with the Menendez brothers, the case has seen renewed interest due to a 2024 Netflix series, Monsters, and a Hulu documentary, Menendez plus Menudo. These, along with social media, have shifted public sentiment, with some viewing the brothers as abuse victims deserving leniency. So we'll be getting into that. Of course, any news that you guys have, we'll review that first. And somewhere near the end of the live stream, we'll be doing a giveaway. Let me share my screen with you. All right, can you guys see that? So we will do the raffle towards the end. If you're curious on how to enter or what the rules might be, I did put them in the chat there. How to enter the raffle. You must be willing to provide your shipping address, must be present to win. Type "count me in" the chat box to enter. So if you see here, we've had a few people already typing in "count me in." So this is what we'll do. We'll take your name and we'll enter you in just like that. And if you noticed, I added a few whammies just for shits and gigs. And if you want to do that throughout the live stream, That's totally fine. And don't panic, because we'll double check and make sure before we spin the wheel that everybody's name that is entered in that wants it to be. So we have 2 entered in. Veda Pearl, welcome in. And Beth Gonzalez, always good to see you. Jill Moser, what's up? All right. And also you see here, so that's how you enter in. Type count me in the chat box. This is how you accept your prize. You'll email me immediately after, let's say we spin the wheel, it lands on your name. You have 2 minutes to go ahead and follow these instructions. You have to email me. You have to title the email winner. You will include your YouTube name, your actual name, and your shipping address. So once I have everything needed to get you the item, you'll win. And we'll close her down. But if you fail to claim your prize within 2 minutes, you will forfeit. And we'll spin it again. Good to see you, Jill Moser, Miss Dog Lover. All right, and if you guys have any news, we can get to that first. So anything you guys want to talk about, we can pull that up on the screen also. Thank you for that input, Beth. Jill Moser says, count me in. Thought I lost my screen there for a minute. Miss Dog Lover, welcome in. Jari, good to see you. Sensei says, count me in. Welcome in, Grunge Truck. I like the golf course part of Falling Down the best. What a great movie. Definitely one of the most underrated movies. Falling Down. And Douglas is a great actor. Miss Dog Lover says, count me in. There you go. I don't know why it keeps adding like a space there. What's up, Jay Ray? She Warrior, good to see you. So are you guys familiar with these cases that I brought up? One's pretty old. The other one's pretty fresh. We might even touch on a little bit on the Hamas-Israel war. You guys can feel free to vent your frustrations, but don't get too crazy or too political. But I think it's important to understand what they're fighting over and why they're fighting. But we won't spend too much time there. All right, She Warrior. Oh, sorry. I was reading that at the same time. J Ray. Glam Van, what up? Jerry. Welcome in, Jerry. Phil Bond. All right. So let me catch up on these and then we'll circle back and we'll give you another opportunity to enter in. So far, we have Veda Pearl, Beth Gonzalez, Jill Moser, Sensei Wackadoodle, Miss Dog Lover, She Warrior 64, Ray Glam Van, Jerry Statler Mayo, Sherry Faye. And it looks like I keep doing that because I can't chew gum and walk. We are playing for a Sleuth Crew hat, the black one with the white writing, still in the plastic. It's a good question. Let's see. So this is my website, sleuthintuition.com. See, Sleuth Crew merch. So it'll be this hat right here. Did I get you, Jerry? All right. Let me save this just in case. So we'll save it. All right. What do you guys want to start with? The Menendez brothers? Good to see you, Mark. Welcome in. Beth, hold that thought. Mark, hold that thought. Midway, we're going to go ahead and we'll enter everybody in again. Yep, that's my favorite one, Beth, honestly. So, Beth, you guys hang tight, and Mark, you hang tight. We'll get back to you guys about midway. Okay. Eric and Lyle Menendez are brothers in murders of their parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, in Beverly Hills, California. The case gained massive attention due to its sensational details, wealth, and the brothers' claims of abuse. Lyle Menendez, born 1968, and Eric Menendez, born 1970, were raised in a wealthy family. Jose, an Cuban-American entertainment executive, and Kitty, a former school teacher, were known for their high expectations and strict parenting. The family lived in a $4 million Beverly Hills mansion at the time of the murders. On August 20th, 1989, the brothers, then 21 and 18, shot their parents multiple times with shotguns in their home's den while they watched TV. Jose was shot 6 times, including a fatal headshot, and Kitty was shot 10 times, with evidence suggesting she was crawling away when killed. The brothers initially claimed they found their parents dead after returning from a movie. They called 911, with Lyle's dramatic call raising suspicions due to inconsistencies. After the murders, they spent lavishly buying cars, watches, businesses, claiming it was their inheritance. This spending, totaling about $700,000, drew police scrutiny. Here, let me put up some photos here. All right. The brothers weren't arrested until March 1990 after Eric confessed to his therapist, Dr. Jerome Oziel, who alerted police via his mistress. The confession's admissibility was debated due to patient confidentiality, but was allowed in court. And we all know that, right? You're sitting in therapy, everything stays between you and your doctor, unless you admit to a murder. You know what I mean? That's ridiculous. Or some kind of sadistic act. The first trial, 1993 through 1994, televised on court TV, ended in hung juries. The brothers admitted to killings, but claimed self-defense, alleging years of emotional, physical, and sexual abuse by Jose, with Kitty enabling it. Prosecutors argued the motive was greed for the $14 million estate. Remember, they started spending money right away, buying jet skis and all kinds of stuff, like from day one. A second trial in 1995 through 1996, with less media access and limited abuse testimony, resulted in convictions for first-degree murder. In 1996, they were sentenced to life without parole, avoiding the death penalty. The brothers detailed abuse, including Jose's alleged molestation of Eric from age 6 to 18 and physical beatings of both. They claimed Kitty's alcoholism and volatility worsened the home environment. Family members like cousin Andy Kano partially corroborated the abuse claims. Prosecutors highlighted the premeditated nature. The brothers bought the shotguns days earlier, typed a fake script to mislead police, and showed no immediate remorse. A 1988 letter from Eric to Kano, discovered years later, hinted at ongoing abuse, fueling recent debates about their sentences. Jerry says, greed is a shitty motive in my opinion, but I get it. Well, when you're dealing with a psychopath, it's easy. But the question is that what happened? The only thing is a psychopath, they don't mind throwing their parents under the bus or blaming them or accusing them, especially when they're already passed away. They can't really defend themselves. You know, they can't say, hey, I didn't do that. You know, I never molested my child because I was murdered by my child. So I can't defend myself against them because I've been murdered by them. So it's hard to verify any of that information. And that's pretty convenient, right, for the Menendez brothers. Cyber Warrior, what's up? I love seeing your avatar there of the Flora 4. All right. The case has seen renewed interest due to a 2024 Netflix series Monsters and a Hulu documentary, Menendez and Menudo. So these are the notes that I opened up with. These, along with social media, especially TikTok, have shifted public sentiment, with some viewing the brothers as abuse victims deserving the leniency. Hence today's poll. So if you guys haven't participated in the poll, please do so now. We'll probably close it out about halfway. Well, it's convenient when you're accusing your parents of something and they're no longer alive to refute those claims. That's convenient for them. Doesn't mean that they're lying. Just means there's really And there's nowhere to, it's their word against theirs. So, should the Menendez brothers receive a shortened sentence and be paroled? Oh, no sound? Okay, sorry about that. Let me go back to this. I think I had you guys on mute. It's because my dog was barking. Okay, so in 2023, the brothers filed a habeas corpus petition citing new evidence. The Eric Kano letter and Rory Rossello's allegations of abuse and Jose at RCA Records. The Los Angeles DA's office under George Gascon reviewed the case, but as of May 2025, announced no support for a new trial, citing insufficient evidence to overturn the convictions. And that's what we're reporting today. That's the breaking news as it relates to that case. Sensei, thank you guys, and I apologize about the muted mic, but I'm going to go right back and cover everything I just went over. And at a May 2025 hearing, the DA's decision and graphic crime scene photos shown in court sparked outrage from the Menendez family, hospitalizing their aunt, Joan Vandermolen. The brothers, in a TMZ Fox interview, expressed hope for resentencing or clemency, possibly returning to court in July of 2025. So if they do get clemency, that's almost like an instant parole for them. They're serving life at Richard J. Donovan Correctional Facility in San Diego, housed together since 2018. Both have married while incarcerated and engage in prison rehabilitation programs.
Not many Hollywood murder mysteries ever took a more dramatic turn than police are describing in a couple of savage Beverly Hills killings. The victims were a man and his wife. He helped finance such movie hits as Rambo, First Blood, Part 2, and Red Heat.
All right, guys, if you are hoping to join, if you guys are hoping to join the raffle, do so now. Remember the rules. Go ahead and type "count me in." Now's a good time. Matter of fact, hold on. Let me pull that up right now. Let's go ahead and add a few more names. Glam Van, I think you're already on there. Yeah, we got you right here. I think we need to add Beth. Beth and Mark, I believe. Beth, CH, and Mark. And let's go. Do we have you up here, Frederica? Okay, got you up there, Beth. Frederica, you're next. Yeah, J. Ray, we should have you up here. Beth Gonzalez, why didn't the brothers report their parents rather than premeditating their murder? I think they served their sentence. Well, I mean, I don't think there's any specific way victims, if they are really victims. That's the question, right? Were they truly victimized? Is there any evidence of that? That I don't know. But if they were victimized, you know, it's almost like a case of insanity, maybe crime of passion. All right. So if you want to join, you must be willing to provide your address. You must be present to win. Type "count me in the chat box. All right. We'll go ahead and close this down for now. Let me just save it real quick.
The alleged killers are, well, let Jerry Bowen tell you about it.
It had all the signs of a mafia hit when Beverly Hills police were called to the Menendez mansion that cool night last summer.
I've been in this business for over 33 years, and I've heard of very few murders that were more savage than this one was.
No signs of a break-in or a burglary, only the bodies of entertainment executive Jose Menendez and his wife Kitty in the family TV room, torn by shotgun blasts that one of the neighbor kids heard.
It sounded like...
Their college-age sons, 19-year-old Eric and 22-year-old Lyle, said they found the bodies after a night at the movies, but new evidence, ranging from records of the family psychologist to a movie script about a rich kid who kills his parents, now indicates the brothers did it.
We were waiting for the glue, if you will, to bind it all together, and just recently that glue has come about, and I feel that we have a very tight case indeed.
Police arrested Lyle at the family mansion yesterday. Younger brother Eric's reportedly returning from an overseas trip to surrender. And like the script Eric once wrote and his mother typed for him, police...
Let's go to Sensei here. What would be the motive for greed, though? Did they not have any access to funds? Were they being written out of the inheritance? Yes. I haven't seen any specific proof, but it was testified to that their father was getting ready to rewrite the will. I don't know if writing them out, but what may not have been giving them as much as he planned to previously. So yes, shortly before their murder, he was planning to either write them out of the will or give them less. And then here you have it. They're murdered and they began spending money immediately. I mean, think about it. Your parents are murdered. Are you thinking about purchasing jet skis? You know what I mean? You're going to be more focused on trying to, I don't know, maybe find a therapist. Trying to keep from going crazy.
Say the motive was apparently money, a $14 million inheritance to be shared by the brothers. An erased computer record about a will suggests the father was about to make a change. A mob hit over some shady movie deal, say police, is pure fantasy, but it's all the boy's grandmother wants to believe.
In the mafia, this is too much money. I think this is my opinion.
Both brothers may be arraigned on charges as early as Monday. Jerry Bowen, CBS News, Beverly Hills.
In Los Angeles, jurors are hearing tales of sexual abuse, greed, and cold-blooded murder in the trial of two brothers charged with killing their parents. In opening statements yesterday, lawyers for the two Menendez brothers claim they shot their parents in 1989 after years of abuse. But prosecutors say the real motive was money, an estimated $14 million inheritance.
There's been a major development tonight at the trial of one of the two
That's a lot
Menendez
of money.
brothers charged with murdering their wealthy parents. Correspondent Sandra Hughes is live in Los Angeles with the details. Sandra?
Well, Connie, the jurors deciding the fate of Eric Menendez have deadlocked. They are hung on the most serious charge of first-degree murder.
Yeah, that's true. Grunge Truck says one goes real life while studying criminology, referring to Brian Koberger and the Idaho College murders. And these two go real life from a play they wrote. They wrote a movie script, I believe, about rich kids who kill their parents. Don't quote me on that. Something along those lines.
And lesser charges against him, the judge has called a mistrial. This does not mean that Eric Menendez will be set free. It is unlikely the judge will let him out of jail because the district attorney has said Eric Menendez will be tried again. 23-year-old Eric and his older brother Lyle are accused of shooting and killing their millionaire parents, Jose and Kitty Menendez, as they watch TV in their Beverly Hills mansion. The brothers admitted the killings, but said they acted out of fear.
Dad said he would kill me if I ever told anyone, and he was serious.
That's a good question, Grunge Truck. What are the chances of both brothers being sociopaths? Yeah, I wonder if that's something that runs in the family.
The secret the brothers said they were going to reveal was that Jose had sexually molested both Eric and Lyle for years.
See, the only thing is I've seen so many other cases where people, I won't say people, I'll say proven psychopaths, people suffering from psychopathy who will put the blame on victims or on their parents, or they'll do it very cold-heartedly. You know, they'll find out that it was everything that they said was a lie. So you never know.
He did what he wanted to me, and I couldn't stop that. And I wanted to, but I couldn't. I don't know why.
But prosecutors said the brothers killed out of hate and greed.
And do you really think that child abuse justifies murder?
Eric's attorney had tried to paint him as a less culpable younger brother. Leslie Abramson said she never felt the whole jury was open-minded.
I think that there were jurors on this jury who are completely biased, who were the minute they sat down and who still are, and we were not able to reveal that because we were not allowed to ask them any questions.
Meantime, older brother Lyle's jury today asked the judge questions about legal terms.
That's exactly what I was thinking, Grunge Truck. You have one brother who's a psychopath or a sociopath, most likely a psychopath, and the other is just kind of under his thumb. You know, do what I say and I'll get you out of this. You know, just follow my lead.
Separating murder from manslaughter, and they continue deliberating. Connie?
Thank you. Sandra Hughes, live in Los Angeles. In Los Angeles today, the jury returned to the courtroom in the trial of Lyle Menendez. He's one of two brothers.
J. Ray says they might be psychologically damaged due to many years of abuse. So remember, they went to trial and they had a mistrial because they kind of used this as like a sneak attack. They came out during the trial and dropped this bombshell on the prosecution. Like, hey, these guys, you know, our parents have been savagely molesting us our entire lives. But that's what I said earlier, J. Ray, how convenient, you know, that there's nobody that's left alive to refute those claims. There's nobody to say, hey, no, I didn't, because the same people who are accusing them actually brutally murdered them with some shotguns. So I don't know if there was ever any proof that they actually did those things. And if they did, I think it could be a huge factor in the case. All I know is during the first trial, it was a huge factor for that jury, but not the second jury. They were convicted of first-degree murder.
Charged with murdering their wealthy parents. But as correspondent Sandra Hughes reports, the jury did not return a verdict.
It was a judicial repeat of what happened 2 weeks ago, only this time it was the jury deciding the fate of older brother Lyle Menendez.
I find that the jury is hopelessly deadlocked, and the court declares a mistrial.
There was never any question about who killed entertainment mogul Jose Menendez and wife Kitty.
Yeah,
Sons
most likely
Eric and
grunge.
Lyle admitted it in court.
Where did you shoot her?
Yeah, I don't know. Does anybody have the answer to that question? I was curious about that as well, Beth. Beth is asking, wonder why the dad was changing his will. I don't know. Maybe they were having some conflicts, butting of heads, maybe.
The street's still run. I shot her close.
The prosecution called it murder for money. The defense painted a picture of sexual abuse by Father Jose.
I just told him that I didn't want to do this. And that it hurt me.
Legal experts say recent trials like those of Damian Williams, Lorena Bobbitt, and
Lorena Bobbitt. Yeah, we might have to come back to that case. I was thinking maybe a members only. Whew.
now the Menendez brothers illustrate the successful use of the victimization defense.
They victimized me, and since I'm the real victim, I'm not accountable for what I've done.
We took the battered woman syndrome and applied it, as I believe it should be, to anybody who is in a relationship of unequal power.
Both Eric and Lyle's juries split down the middle. About half voted for murder and half for manslaughter.
Did you believe him?
Some.
The district attorney is adamant about a retrial.
This office is going to try this case again as a first-degree murder case because that's what it is.
That retrial will cost the taxpayers a bundle. The daily judicial tab for a murder trial is $10,000, bringing the cost of this trial to more than $1 million. And it's expected.
Veda, am I saying that? Like Veda? Veda Pearl? Aren't they married now? Yes, both of them. There were some women out there with hybristophilia and connected with these two and actually were able to marry them. Isn't that crazy? That's so weird to me. Their victims can't do anything. All right, let's take a quick break here. If you guys want to join the raffle, now is your chance. If you haven't already, go ahead and type in "count me in." We're about halfway through the stream. All right, so we have Veda Pearl, Beth Gonzalez, Jill Moser, Sensei Wackadoodle, Miss Dog Lover, She Warrior 64, J Ray, Glam Van, Jerry Statler, Mayo, Sherry Faye, Jari, Beth CH, Mark, Frederica Goodnow. If you don't see your name up there, and you're hoping you're part of the raffle, let me know now. Or reach out to one of the mods, and they'll give you the rules. Let's see. Sensei Wackadoodle. What if they were abusing them and they challenged them about it? That's why the dad was going to change the inheritance as a means to control. Just thinking out loud. Well, if they did abuse them, it's definitely should be it should be a factor for the jury, especially when they're looking at a death penalty case. I think when it comes to that, yeah, that matters. But as far as not reporting the family, instead choosing to, brutally murder them in the fashion that they chose was pretty gruesome. To me, it doesn't seem sincere. If they were abused, you know, this is just an awful, disgusting situation for them, that they were driven to do something like that. And I think that a jury should take that into account. But at the same time, I'm not seeing that. I'm seeing the behavior from them, the way they were spending money, the conversation about the will being changed or updated, possibly removing them. And right after their murders, the brothers begin spending over $700,000. It's very suspicious. You know, that's behavior of a psychopath. Yep, the DA is pissed. He's not going to recuse himself. And he's going to do everything in his power to keep those boys from, those men now, those brothers, from being released. Gotcha. Yeah, allegedly, right? So there's really three questions. Are they just out of their mind? Psychopathy examples. One crazy brother manipulating the other to kill his parents and take their money. Or were they abused, driven to mayhem? And then the third is, yes, they were abused, but yet they shouldn't have committed that murder. There were other ways to deal with it. Yep, Jari is up there. Yeah, but I would expect that from them, wouldn't you, J. Ray? Wouldn't you expect them to have their story straight? Doesn't mean that they're lying. But if they were lying, wouldn't you expect them to talk about it and come up with a strategy? I mean, they're in the movie business. Okay, so let's close out the will for now. We'll come back to that. Let me see if I have anything else on the Menendez brothers. Yep, hold on.
Tracking more breaking news developments in the Menendez brothers' fight for freedom. NBC4's Eric Leonard is live in the newsroom. Eric, walk us through what you just uncovered.
Now, just back from the courthouse here, where the LA County District Attorney's Office says the defense's argument that the entire Office of Prosecutors ought to be kicked off the resentencing case is misguided. A new filing this afternoon says in the DA's office's position, there's no actual evidence of bias or a conflict of interest. This new filing from DA Nathan Hochman's office disputes each of the issues raised by the Menendez brothers' defense during a fiery hearing a couple weeks ago. The DA says defense attorney Mark Garrigus has conflated the idea of a conflict of interest with zealous advocacy. The DA writes, disagreeing with the opposing side is not a conflict of interest. It's just a disagreement. And the DA characterizes the request for the office's removal as desperate and drastic and alleges it was made to distract from the core issues at the center of this resentencing. The brothers, of course, have been pushing for a reduced sentence, which would likely mean release on parole. Former LA County DA George Gascon supported their efforts. Hochman does not, and he unsuccessfully tried to stop the process a few weeks ago. Now, state law weighs in favor of reducing punishment for many convicted criminals, including murderers. Garrigus has asked the judge to remove the DA because he says Hochman has shown he and his employees can't be fair to the brothers. The judge is set to hold another hearing on all of this a week from today. Live in the newsroom, I'm investigative reporter.
That's just crazy to think of the Menendez brothers being free. Two men who killed their parents with shotguns as they watched television in a living room, walking around the streets. Jerry says, well, yeah, duh, nobody should kill their parents. What is it? I don't get what you're saying. They killed their parents, though. What should the punishment be? And we're focusing in on the nuance of it, right? Let's say they weren't molested and killed their parents. Should the punishment be the same as if they were abused by their parents? That's the question. What is the status of their case right now? Well, they're trying to get their sentence reduced. They're in the process and they're gaining success. Gavin Newsom is on their side. He's fighting for them. It was actually him who pushed it through initially, and now you have the DEA trying to fight against it. And I think as of this morning, he basically refused to recuse himself. Hey, what's up, Anna? Once again, I am not sure in the poll. I doubt these guys are a threat to others. Does it serve a purpose for society to keep them locked up? Harsh punishments do not deter crimes. I think if we are dealing with a psychopath, now a proven violent psychopath, that's not going to stop them from killing again. If they are capable of doing something like that, there's no real empathy for their fellow humans. I mean, they're going to reoffend. Maybe the only thing stopping them from reoffending so far was those prison walls. Remove those prison walls, put them back into the public. You know, here comes the psychopathic logic, right? How do I deal with my problems and my issues? Well, one of those issues for a psychopath, a sadistic psychopath, the option is always murder. So we will probably close this poll out in a few minutes. So I'll give you guys 2 more minutes if you want to partake. Should the Menendez brothers receive a shortened sentence and be paroled? 39% of you say yes. 22% say no. 17% say hell no. 22% say not sure. But that is a good question, Anna. Would they pose a threat? I believe so. I believe whatever fueled this rage and this to happen, a psychopath would find a way to justify it again in the future. If he justified it back then, he's going to find a way to justify it now. Thank you, Sensei. Thank you, Jari. Yeah, if you guys could hit the like button. And if you are hoping to join the poll, remember, you need to type in the chat now, count me in. You must be willing to send me your shipping address. Otherwise, how am I going to send you a Sleuth Crew hat? I think that would make it almost virtually impossible. You must be present to win. And in order to claim your prize, you need to email me within 2 minutes, titling the email as a winner with your YouTube name, followed by your actual name and shipping information. If you fail to claim your prize within 2 minutes, you forfeit, and we spin it again. There you go. There's my email address, sleuthintuition@gmail.com. Anna says, in some other developed countries, family annihilators have been released after 25 or 30 years. That's true. A lot of European countries, and they did not reoffend. That's true. Some of them did, though. I don't know the exact. We did a live stream on that, but that's a good point, Anna. Different culture, you know, different. It's just different. You know, that's apples and oranges. Population size. Yeah, a lot of factors there. It's not that simple. Jari says, I don't think they will reoffend. I think it's possible. You know, 5, 10 years go by free. They've settled in. They start to have stressors. Stressors kick in. And then there's that psychologic, right? It's not if or if I think they will. I think that it's, I think it's just there's a good chance that, yeah, they could. Talking about a violent individual here. Yeah, Grunge. The brother in blue, that's the younger brother. Or no, that's the older brother, I believe. Yes, that's the older brother. Other countries are difficult to extrapolate to U.S. incarceration trends. We are a different breed of criminals, in my opinion. Yeah, it's just different. Cultural differences play into it for sure. All right. We are at the top of the hour. We're going to close down the poll. Let's see what you guys decided on here. And then we're going to get into case number 2. The murder of 6-year-old Wadi Alpha Yumi at the hands of Joseph Czuba. All right, we'll take a quick break. I'm going to go grab a water. If you guys would like to enter into the raffle, go ahead and type in "count me in the chat now if you haven't already. All righty. All right, we'll close the wheel down and we're going to go ahead and get into this case here. This one is very troubling. Like I said, it's a very polarizing subject right now, the Israel-Palestine conflict. And I don't want to get too political, but you guys feel free to go ahead and voice your opinions on the matter. Plus, this guy kind of looks like the poltergeist. This story is just pure madness. Let me put this up on the screen for you. Like, what the hell's going on with this guy? So in October of 2023, Joseph Czuba, a 73-year-old landlord in Plainfield, Illinois, attacked his tenants, a Palestinian-American family, in a hate-driven assault prompted by the escalating Israel-Hamas war that began days earlier. Czuba, who had previously had a positive relationship with the family, became agitated after consuming inflammatory media about the conflict, according to trial testimony. He targeted 6-year-old Wadi and his mother, Hanan, because of their Muslim faith. On the day of the attack, Czuba forcibly entered their rented rooms yelling, "You Muslims must die." He stabbed Shaheen over a dozen times, attempting to choke her and break her teeth before turning on Wadi, whom he stabbed 26 times with a military-style knife, leaving the blade in the child's body. Shaheen survived after calling 911 from a locked bathroom, but Wadi died at the hospital. Police found Czuba outside, covered in blood, and arrested him. Yeah, looks like the poltergeist. That 6-year-old Wadi. Sometimes when you're dealing with psychopathy, there is no real reason. You know, you ask a lot of these killers after they commit these types of brutal crimes, "Why'd you do it, man?" They say, "Honestly, I don't know. I was going through a stressful time, and I don't know why I did it." And yes, Frederica, oftentimes they mention demons, you know, and I'm not just trying to sound like some Bible thumper, some crazy person, but it's true. Most serial killers talk about being possessed by a demonic force. And even during a lot of interrogations, these people who have been diagnosed with psychopathy talk about having these fantasies of killing and urges by demonic forces in their head. So what's that all about? Thank you, Jari. As is often said, there is a mental health crisis. Absolutely. And sometimes there are no red flags. In this story, the accused was like a grandfather figure to the victim, Wadi. And then, boom, you have the stupid war, thousands of people dying. You have a line drawn in the sand. You have tribalism. You have this side hates this side. And it's inflammatory because you have the media that preys on the public, you know, for views. They don't give a shit if you killed your neighbor or somebody that you were a grandfather figure to, as long as you were tuning in. And now they get to report on the actual crime that they had a small piece of. Yeah, BTK. He admitted to that. He testified to that during his trial, during his official confession. Ted Bundy talked about that a lot.
Fatally stabbed by the family's landlord is reacting today to the killer's 53-year prison sentence. WGN's Jewel Hillary reports on their response.
Wadia Al-Fayoum's family says even with today's sentencing, they're not fully satisfied.
Let's go to Grunge Truck real quick. Why did he supposedly K them? Well, they were Palestinian, and he had begun to obsess over the Israel-Hamas war.
Say they wanted Joseph Czuba to tell them why he killed the little boy, which would have given this family a little peace of mind.
The sentence was just for a criminal, but was not just for us as families, as parents. We needed more answers.
Yep, Anna. Similar with people suffering from psychosis and they're hearing audible voices. So yeah, there could be a scientific explanation to that for sure.
During Friday morning's sentencing hearing, one of 6-year-old Wadia Al-Fayoum's grandfathers shared a victim impact statement in court. At times, he turned to look at 73-year-old Joseph Czuba eye to eye, pleading with him to explain why he flipped from someone who cared for Wadia to stabbing him 26 times and killing him.
He was a grandfather figure. He took care of this little boy. After the news, that's what everything changed. So we needed him to come up and say something.
On Friday, a Will County judge sentenced Czuba, who, according to his defense attorney, has stage 4 cancer, to a total of 53 years in prison for first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and hate crime charges.
It doesn't matter what numbers are. He took a life from us. He took a future.
The brutal crimes occurred in October 2023, days after the Israel-Hamas war started. During the trial, Chuba's former wife testified, saying Czuba had become agitated about the war. At the time of the murder, Wadia and his mom, Hanan Shaheen, had been renting space inside of Chuba's Plainfield Township house for 2 years. In February, Hanan testified that Czuba attacked her first and then went after Wadia, insisting they had to move because they were Muslim.
The hatred against a religion that people don't understand. They just come up with a judgment. We wish people just to understand other people more, especially religions.
The executive director for CARE Chicago says Wadia was an innocent child. He was targeted because of who he was, Muslim, Palestinian, and loved. Our work is now to ensure that no other child suffers from the deadly consequences of hate. Wadia's father says he came to the United States because it's a free country, but is now baffled by the hate within.
The same guy, he was looking about my son as an angel. Right now, he call him as a devil. So, I don't know, this is America? That's what that means? That's a free country?
Defense attorneys plan to file a motion to reconsider the sentencing. That hearing is set for May 7th. Reporting in Will County.
Fatally stabbed by the family's landlord.
Let's see here. What else do we have? Couple videos.
Today paint a picture of a man angry over the current conflict between Hamas and Israel in the Middle East. One who in the days prior to this violent attack had become increasingly paranoid and worried over his own safety. Dressed in a red jumpsuit, shackled, hair unkempt. That was how 71-year-old Joseph Czuba appeared in Will County Court today as he faced the judge for the first time, charged with 8 counts of first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, battery, and hate crimes. The Plainfield man was charged yesterday in connection with the brutal stabbing murder of 6-year-old Wadia Al-Fayoumi and an equally violent attack on his Palestinian mother, both of whom, until Saturday, rented rooms inside Czuba's home. Assistant State's Attorney Michael Fitzgerald today recounted the mother's statements to police, saying Czuba was angry at her over what was going on in Jerusalem. She responded by saying, "Let's pray for peace." He didn't give her time. He then attacked her with a knife. Fitzgerald then added that Czuba's wife, who was not home during the attack, stated her husband wanted them to move out. He believed they were in danger and she was going to call her Palestinian friends over to harm them, he said. President Joe Biden has been among those reacting to the attack, saying in part, this horrific act of hate has no place in America and stands against our fundamental values, freedom from fear, for how we pray, what we believe,
What's up, Cindy?
and who we are. The Justice Department has now opened its own investigation into the matter, advising there is a potential Czuba could soon face federal hate crime charges as well.
It's not double jeopardy. And we'll see this sometimes, the Department of Justice bringing charges on hate crimes, even where the state's involved, because it's a serious enough case, because the Department of Justice wants to send a message that it will not tolerate hate, especially violent hate crimes.
Released in court today,
All right, this is what the fight was all about here. So I'm going to play a video from basically a few days, or this is the information that he was watching on the news, and it caused him to commit these horrible acts.
Debates the military response 19 days since the worst terror attack in Israeli history. Its leaders are trying to frame the stakes, today laying bare the brutality in graphic detail. Here's Raf Sanchez.
It felt like there couldn't possibly be new horror left to see. No brutality that hadn't already been shared or live streamed. But tonight, with global attention turning to the spiraling death toll in Gaza, Israel's military trying to keep the focus on the massacre that sparked the war, inviting NBC News and other journalists to a screening of raw video from the October 7th Hamas terror attack.
I have some sense of what's in this footage, and I've been trying to prepare myself, but I'm still anxious about what we're going to see.
For 46 minutes, we sat in stunned silence,
watching
Anna. Video filmed by Hamas and filmed by their victims. Much of it had never been seen before. And while Israel's military is not releasing the clips because they're so graphic, they allowed us to describe what we saw, including a terrorist throwing a grenade into a bomb shelter where an Israeli father is shielding his 2 young sons. The blast kills the father and wounds the little boys. One of them howls, "Why am I alive?" and tells his brother, "I think we're going to die." A Hamas gunman stands over them, drinking Coke from their fridge. It's not clear what happened to the boys.
I'm sure that you can figure out that they are worse than ISIS, the way they behave.
The military released this video from a Hamas dash cam exclusively to NBC News, saying it shows a terrorist using a heavy machine gun to mow down survivors fleeing from the Supernova Music Festival.
Because I knew I just have to survive, I just have to run.
Millet Ben Haim was among those running for their lives.
When I was growing up, there is this movie about the Holocaust. There is this scene that they're running and there is people shooting at them, and there is also like bombs on the ground. And I remember really thinking about this scene because it was so similar.
She hid in a bush with friends for hours waiting for rescue.
I don't know who I am.
That shit is crazy. So this is the kind of stuff that this guy was watching before he committed that murder. Six years old. I mean, what did he do to anybody? So this guy was in court today. I think they played the 911 call from the mother that he attempted to kill. She survived. The boy did not. Welcome in, Scott. Yeah, I mean, all crimes, right? All violent crime is hate crime. But I think whenever there's like a racism or discrimination involved, they tack that on there. How's it going, Cindy? All right, guys, we are running out of time. We only have 15 minutes left, so we'll spend that time on the drawing. That is pretty much all the news I had for you. Menendez brothers looking to be resentenced, and a man accused of killing a Muslim child. He appears in court. Like I said, I believe today they did listen to the 911 call. And he refused to speak, really. All right, guys, let's get ready to spin the wheel. Let's close out those ads. Okay, remember, in order to join the the raffle, you must be willing to send me your address. You must be present to win. In order to claim your prize, so let's say we land on your name, you have 2 minutes to send me an email right there. Miss Doglover put it up on the screen. Thank you so much. You will title this email winner. You will put your YouTube name followed by your actual name and then your shipping information. You have 2 minutes to complete that. And if you fail, you will forfeit and we will spin again. All right. Let's go down the list of names here. Veda Pearl, Beth Gonzalez, Jill Moser, Sensei Wackadoodle, Miss Doglover, She Warrior 64, J Ray, Glam Van, Jerry, Sherry Faye, Jari, Beth CH, Mark Frederica Goodenow. If you are hoping to participate and you did not hear your name, speak now or forever hold your peace. This is for a Sleuth Crew hat, black with white writing, white lettering. Very, it's basically the same one you guys always see me wearing. So let's go ahead and shuffle these up. I need to move these. Or maybe we'll just do one whammy. Shuffle, shuffle, shuffle. All right, guys, should we spin? You guys ready to spin? Are you ready? Thank you, Sensei, for the 16-month flex. Getting pretty swolled up over there. Look at those guns. Oh, yeah, we're getting there. Starting to get hectic around here. Sensei, thank you again for sponsoring today's live stream. So if you guys are interested in winning a Sleuth Crew hat, and you're okay with providing your shipping address, put your name down. Let's do this. Ooh, Chopper Harris is in the building. What about you, Chopper? If you want to join, you need to be willing to send the address, be present to win, and email me within 2 minutes after landing on your name, if that in fact happens. All right, Beth says spin that wheel. Miracle Hearts, go ahead and type count me in the chat box. You'll have 2 minutes to send me your address, your YouTube name, to claim your prize. And we'll get the hat out to you as soon as possible. All right, we have Miracle Hearts. Count me in, she says. Miracle Hearts 2. All right, we got you up there. Your name is right there in gray. You got it. Frederica, I don't know how to send an email. Well, I don't know how you're going to claim your prize. We have a couple people that don't live far from you. I'll ship it overseas. I don't care. I ship merch overseas all the time. I've sent merch to Ireland, Scotland, all over Europe, Australia. Yeah, it's expensive as shit, but it is what it is, right? So if you guys want to participate, this is your last chance. Go ahead and put in the chat box, count me in. It's 118 right now. At 120, we're going to spin. See, Miss Doglover's in the UK, and she has every intention of winning. Her name is right there in white. You see it? Right below the whammy. All right, Scott's in. Scott says, count me in. All right, Scott. Scott the Metalhead. It's official. So, Scott, your name is right there in the dark gray. Between She Warrior and Miracle Hearts. Yep, Sensei's in England. Sleuth crew is everywhere, guys. We're all over the place. All right. You guys ready for this? All right. We're going to spin that wheel. Good luck. No whammies. Miss Doglover. Miss Doglover, come on up. Get that email to me. You have 2 minutes. Right now, it's 1:20 exactly. At 1:22. If we don't have our email, we'll spin it again. Remember, it's going to be titled Winner, YouTube name, real name, shipping address. Boom says, I've sent the email. Looks like we have an email. Oh, no. That was from Sensei Wackadoodle earlier telling me that I was muted. Thank you so much for that, by the way. All right. We have 1 more minute remaining. Miss Doglover, are you in the building? She says, I've sent it. Scott says, congratulations. Oh, she says, check your spam, fool. Bam, there it is. All right, guys, we have a winner. Congratulations, Miss Dog Lover. I'll be in contact with you. Keep a lookout for a reply from me. And that's going to do it for the Sleuth Crew News merch giveaway. Big shout out to everybody who was able to catch the live stream. Big shout out to the replay crew. You guys know what to do. Drop a comment. We'll get back to you. And Miss Dog Lover, we'll get that hat to you ASAP. Keep a lookout for a reply. Congratulations to you. Sorry to the rest of you. Maybe next time. And for all of you members out there, we will be doing another giveaway at some point in the next couple of days. Thinking maybe 2 t-shirts. So there you go. Congrats, Miss Dog Lover. She Warrior says congrats. Vede Hearts. Glam Van Frederica, congratulations. J Ray, okay, bye. Peace out, everybody. I'll see you again a little bit later in the day. We will be covering the Delphi case. We're going to do a Sleuth Crew review. Hammer and Nigel, the pathologist that did the autopsies in the Delphi case. We will review that, have a conversation, and open up the phone lines. So hopefully I'll see you guys there, 6 p.m. Arizona time. Be there, be square. Peace.